First off, let me get out of the way, even though I am not Irish. Happy St. Patrick's Day to my viewers. That said, I want to come on here and apologize for a screw up I made yesterday. Everyone remembers how went off a bit when I mentioned that Vic was getting canceled from the Collecticon Charlotte stop. Well, Squally has had to constantly correct me that he hasn't been announced yet, not canceled. If you go to anime.com, his invite is still there. However, for jump the gun or not, I do apologize for that. I jumped the gun, okay? I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry to Squally for screwing it up. But look, Squally, I'm a naturally pessimistic person who looks at things with a realistic logic. And again, if you looked at the convention guest list, 3 of his major detractors are showing up. Jason Liebert, Elizabeth Maxwell, and Leah Clark, all of whom threw Vic under the bus. Back in 2019. And again, the dynamic between Jason, Vic, and Elizabeth kind of reminds me of a similar dynamic that occurred in pro wrestling almost 20 years ago. Oh, let me have this little tidbit stored in the back of my head. Not sure if I should use it if I run into Jason's panel. For context, is what I was going to use on him. Let me explain. You guys remember 2004, 2005 when Matt Hart, early mid 2000s, when Matt Hardy was in a relationship with Amy Dumas, aka Lita, and then when Matt went on the shelf at some point, Amy went behind his back and began having an affair with Adam Copeland, aka Edge, and eventually the dirt sheets leaked that out. And it made Lita a full blown heel that made her basically slut shamed her, where Edge's career skyrocketed out of this incident. And then Lita was gone by 2006. You guys remember that, right? Well, the dynamic between Vic, Jason, and Elizabeth is not completely the same. Is not completely the same. The parallels do have some semblance to this. Now, let's go back to 2013 to 2016 and 19. Vic debuts in Ruby as Crow in the 3rd volume. Now, as I mentioned when I dissected Elizabeth's brain, she wasn't happy with this. However, she still kept a relationship with Vic. A strictly professional relationship, but a relationship nonetheless. They weren't going to get lovey-dovey. At the time, Vic was still engaged to Michelle Specht. Though he and Michelle were going through a bit of a rough patch. Again, it was strictly professional. Vic gets fired in 19. Elizabeth's one of the people to jump on the bandwagon. Then she gets off the bandwagon 6 months later when her boyfriend, Jason Liebert, gets picked to replace Vic. And the rest, as they say, is history. We're not going to go into further details. And no, I am not going to. And the idea I had was loosely based on Paul Heyman's promo shot at Edge at One Night Stand 2005. You know the one. I'm not going to repeat it. Don't want to get too much into trouble. That being said, in regards to Collecticon, I'm asking, begging any members of ISWB to hit the Collecticon Facebook page with hashtags like Stand with Vic, We Want Vic, Bring in Vic, Say No to Cancel Culture, and Say No to Cancel Culture, Say No to Wokeness, stuff like that. Stuff like that. Hit them with these positive, encouraging hashtags. Let your voice be heard. Because let's face it, this is too big for someone like me to handle alone. I mean, pretty big for someone like me to handle, for any of us to handle alone. Bombard them with with those hashtags. You bombard the convention with those hashtags. Tell them not to listen to people like Mars Girl, Amy Whitehoff, Renfamous, Jessica Pridemore, or whatever her real name was. Tap Tamavoff or whatever it was. Dominique Sky. Tell them not to listen. Or Liz, whatever her name was from Trent Michaels brought up in his stream last night, where he was ripping apart Damon Mill. I mean, how much she's basically been covering for Damon. And I will agree with Trent on one point. What would Vic need to change? Would he have to change himself to conform to a crappy norm at Crunchyroll? Vic was just being true to himself. Everyone else you praise for changing, Jane, it's so they can hide their own fallibilities. Vic has no qualms with hiding the genuine person he is. I'm getting off track, but let me get to the point. I apologize for jumping the gun yesterday. For essentially, to my brothers and sisters in the Risen Bull Rangers and ISWV, I'm sorry for jumping the gun. And for those wondering, on the Twitch, who are usually regulars in Vic's Twitch streams, I am not going to be in the stream next Wednesday. I've got a Hornets game to catch. I have a Hornets game to catch. Catch that night. That said, stand with Vic. I stand with Vic now, then, forever. Leave a comment, smash the like, sub to the channel. Hit Collectathon with the hashtags I did suggest and do encourage you hit them with, because they're actually far more constructive and supportive. Mets 2128 signing out. Goodbye. Good night. Bang. And happy St. Patrick's Day.